Okay, so now that we have pretty much our player set up, we can go ahead and test it. Now, obviously, it's not going to do anything other than put a little block on the screen. But yeah, there we go. We have a nice background, we have a light, and I should mention that we have a dark background against a light object, and that contrast works. Now, in games, you have less contrast in color than, let's say, painting. So if you're an artist and you've done a bunch of, well, any kind of art, painting, drawing, whatever, you'll notice that the difference between color between the lightest and the darkest is pretty high in art. Whereas in games, though, the difference isn't as big. So that's just something to keep in mind. Let's add in a function here. We'll call this spawn collectible. And we're going to spawn the collectible. We're going to make sure that we spawn this on a timer. Okay, so we're just going to keep on spawning a bunch of collectibles here. And in order to do that, we're going to say collectible is equal to sk sprite node. And we're going to add, of course, a color and a size. The color is going to be off black color, and the size is going to be collectible size. We need to set the collectible dot size to collectible size. The reason why we're doing that is because if we want to add in our own art, we have to set the size. So we'll just set that up just in case we want to add in our own art later. You don't have to, but you can if you want. We need to add in physics body here, so we'll say collectible dot physics body is equal to sk physics body, and we'll say rectangle size is going to be collectible dot exclamation point dot size. All right, and we'll say collectible dot physics body is dot affected by gravity is equal to false. We don't want it to be affected by gravity. Collectible dot physics body dot allows rotation is equal to false. Collectible dot physics body dot category bitmask is equal to physics category. Remember, this is the struct we set up. We're going to say that it is collectible, and then collectible dot physics body dot contact test bitmask is equal to, again, physics category dot in this case player. Collectible dot physics body dot dynamic is equal to true. Okay. What we'll also do is we'll set the collectible dot z position is equal to -1. So we're always going to put this to the back. So z position is your order, so 0 and is normal here. And whenever you add an object, it puts it on top. Think of like pieces of paper. So when you spawn it, it puts it always below where the player and all the items are, and all the heads-up display or HUD. Okay, and we also add in a collectible dot name, and you can see name is of type string, and we'll say this is collectible name self dot add child collectible. Okay, and what's interesting about this is we haven't set up a position yet. So what we need to do in this collectible here is we need to add in a random x and a random y. So let's add in a, say, let random x is equal to, and we're going to say int arc for random uniform. And this arc for random uniform is going to be between two sides here. We're going to say, let's say it's between 450 and 300. Okay, so the bottom level, the second number is the bottom, and the first one's the top here. So you also want to make sure that you spell random correctly, but we have random x, and that's going to be our random x. So let's copy and paste that, but we'll change random x to random y. And the y is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so the y is, we can say something like, let's say, well, we could probably even make it 450 as well. And this will make between 100. So remember, x is across and y is up and down. Now we don't technically set it here, so let's go ahead, let's set collectible dot position is equal to CG point, right? And in that CG point, we're going to say random x and random y. So every time you call the spawn collectible function, it will go and spawn a collectible at a random x and a random y. And then we set the position to the random x and random y here. Now, where do we add this in here? Where do we add in this this spawn collectible here? We will get to that very shortly. But before we do that, we need to set up our two labels here. So we're going to say function spawn LBL main, and with the spawn LBL main, we're going to say LBL main is equal to sk label node, and we'll say this is Futura because it's my favorite font. We're going to go to LBL main.sk, or is equal to sk label node, or LBL main.fonts color, and we can make it whatever color we want. We'll make this off, make it equal to off white color, and then we're going to go to LBL main.font size is equal to, well, let's say 60. LBL main.position is equal to CG point. All right, and we need to give it a point here, so we'll say CG rect get mid x self.frame. We'll put this somewhere in the CG rect here, so we'll say CG rect get mid y, and we'll say that this is self.frame. But we don't want to put it right in the middle, so we're going to put it 250 pixels above the middle. Okay, we're going to put this LBL main here, and this LBL main is going to be dot text is equal to, and we'll just say something like start. And then we're going to go to self.addChild, and we're going to add the LBL main. All right. Add another function. We'll call this spawn LBL score, and we'll do exactly that. We'll say LBL score is equal to sk label node, and we'll give it a Futura as well. All right. Let's go to LBL score dot font size is equal to 40. I think 40 is probably pretty good. Let's go to LBL score dot font color is equal to off white color. We'll go to LBL score dot position is equal to CG point, and you'll see CG rect get mid x self.frame, so we'll put it in the middle across, and then we're going to go to CG rect get mid y, and we're going to go to self.frame, and we can do a couple things. We can put it in the middle and move it down, or we could put it at the bottom by using get min y, and then we'll add in something like 50 pixels. So if we add in 50 pixels, so there's cgrect get mid midx and cgrect get mid midy, but this is get min miny. So we'll put it at the bottom here. LBL score dot text is equal to score colon backslash bracket score, and then we're going to go to LBL or self dot add child, and we're going to go to LBL score exclamation point. Hop up to the top, and we'll do spawn LBL main and spawn LBL score. We're not going to spawn the collectible now because we don't need to do that right now. We're going to set it up with a timer here, okay? And that looks pretty good. Score looks pretty about right, and the start's a little bit small. So maybe we'll set this to something like 110, and maybe we'll bring this down a bit to like 40, or maybe even 30. We'll put this to the bottom here. Now you don't want it completely flush with the bottom, but you do want it fairly close. So yeah, there we go. And that actually looks pretty good. All right, and we can see that we have everything in here. We have the white, and the red actually does look pretty good, although we'll be formatting the colors. There we go. So now we have our spawn labels, and we're going to set up timers in the next tutorial.